before the hiring interview, how to identify the appropriate thinking style for each role, why smart managers still hire the wrong people, the hiring problem. Key point. Most managers think hiring interviews fail because candidates misrepresent themselves. Reframe. Hiring interviews fail because the role is undefined at the level of the person's normal thinking patterns, and managers often don't know which ways of thinking are required for successful performance of that task. If you don't know which thinking patterns a task requires, you can't recognize whether a person thinks that way or not. What are some common thinking styles that you should normally find in a hiring interview? Big picture or detail, goal or avoidance oriented, procedures or options, self or other, power, affiliation, or achievement, past, present, or future, initiate or wait. These are only 7 of the 17 thinking pattern styles revealed by the lab profile, and successful performance of any and every task on the job requires some combination of patterns within those 17 thinking pattern sets. So it's critical for managers to know these patterns and how to recognize them. The hidden assumption managers make. Managers assume skills plus experience equals a fit for their opening. Why this fails? Applicants with the same experience can perform very differently, need very different management approaches, can succeed or fail in the same role. The difference is how their mind is structured to operate. Do they have what it takes for that role in this organization? Role thinking architecture. Every role quietly demands certain ways of deciding, acting, handling pressure, responding to structure, being motivated. Key distinction. Different tasks require different patterns of thinking and performing. Job descriptions describe tasks, so the applicant's thinking style is usually not evaluated in the hiring process. A role doesn't just need someone who can do the work. It needs someone who naturally thinks in a way this task requires in this organization. Must have versus must not have styles. The critical distinction. Must have styles. Success is possible. Must not have styles. Failure is predictable. Important clarity. A must not have is not an applicant's flaw. It's simply a mismatch with the role and can easily be a great match in a different role. You're not hiring a fit between the thinking patterns needed for this role and the thinking architecture this person has. Same patterns, different outcomes. Finding the flaw thinking is always essential in quality control, but can cause problems in marketing and managing. Options thinking is necessary in product design, but causes problems in ongoing production. Big picture thinking can be good in marketing, but causes problems in quality assurance. Detailed thinking is good in accounting, but may cause problems in marketing. Procedural thinking is good in production, but can cause difficulties in new product design. Patterns have value based on context, and no pattern is universally good or bad. The failure point. Why interviews miss this completely. Managers listen without a filter. Everything sounds reasonable. No internal alarm bells go off. When you don't define the role in the needed thinking pattern, every answer can sound acceptable. When you learn the lab profile, you will know how to recognize the must-have patterns in each role, how to recognize must-not-have patterns early in the interview process, how to motivate an applicant once the fit is right. Once the role is defined correctly, your interviews become much easier and much more productive. Where the lab profile fits. The lab profile provides a structured way to define roles and precisely motivate people, a way to hear patterns in real language, predictability without psychological jargon. I created the lab profile to solve these mismatch issues. I have refined and expanded it over decades into 17 categories of thinking and behavior, identifying 54 precise patterns. I'm Roger Bailey. I started developing the lab profile in the late 70s as part of my study for my Master of Science in Social Science. At the time, I was a senior programmer analyst at IBM, on staff to the director of IBM's most popular mainframe operating system. If you want to learn more about the lab profile and how to get it working for your organization, check out this video's description.